really common error I see is probably the most common fault in golf: the club path swinging out to in, the over the top, the slicing swing. What we're talking about is that club from the top of the backswing steepening, those hands and usually the club head heading out over the top of the plane, working to the left of the target. So what I've got set up here is the green alignment stick on the ground represents our ball to target line, and the red alignment stick is the classic over the top path of the club. So as we swing that club back and then use our hands and arms to extend out and over, that sort of pickaxe movement, chopping movement that we see a lot, causing those out-wind swing paths and sending the ball left to right usually. So what this drill really does, and positively overtrains us, because we're after getting the club moving relatively squarely, relatively in line with this green alignment stick. We want that club path moving as neutrally as possible, because that's going to potentially minimise, along with a good club face at impact, club face alignment, going to send some much straighter flying, much more powerful shots. So what we can do is we can set up the exact opposite of what I just had set up. So we've got the green alignment stick on our ball to target line, the red alignment stick pointing out to the right. And you want to make it quite exaggerated here, because in the golf swing we have to have big feelings for small movements. So it's very easy to make small adjustments, but they won't really have much of an effect in the swing. We need to generally, for most players, make some pretty big exaggerated moves to have any kind of actual effect once we put a ball in the way. So what we do is we set up as we normally would do to the green alignment stick, hover the club over the top of the alignment stick, take it away as normal, so following the green alignment stick on the way back, and then trying to follow the red alignment stick on the way through. And this varies player by player. The way what we're talking about is shallowing the club in the downswing, trying to feel like you press that right elbow into your right side. We talk about squatting for sort of better players, squatting as we begin the downswing, which will shallow that club. Some players like to feel like their club flattens a little bit. It varies player by player, and this is things you can work on either with myself or the coach that you see relatively regularly. But this drill is designed to work in a different pattern, overtrain a pattern that we need to try and pull the club back to a better path. So as we take this club back on the green line, we're then feeling like we follow that red, so we're dropping it wildly to the inside, red on the way through. And what we do is then begin to groove in a change of a pattern there. So we almost feel like it is a loop. Because where we talk about a one-plane swing, we visualise a sort of Adam Scott or Justin Rose swing, where the club looks like it travels very simply back and through. But most one-plane swings are still actually mini two-plane swings, where that club slightly shallows in that downswing, because that player will squat a touch, which does shallow the club. And even if we are trying to produce a little bit of a fade, most good players will produce that fade by rotating the body, getting that path working a little bit left, but as they begin the downswing, they've still squatted and shallowed a touch. So this drill gives us a really clear visual image of how we want that club moving, how we're going to overtrain that movement and try and pull the path closer to zero. For the players who work with me on TrackMan, we talk about the sort of the tolerances, we call it the channels of acceptability. So what we're after in terms of the path of the club is a channel plus or minus 4 degrees. You can get with a 7-9, you can get a pretty good consistency of shot there. You're not having to work the face too much in terms of producing bigger fades or bigger draws. We can work on trying to relatively square a club face. Not to say you can't play some good golf with some much bigger paths out to in or in to out, but it's just harder to get a consistently closed or open club face if you're working the club much more out to in or in to out. And it also becomes a bit more of a glancing blow, so you lose a bit of that energy that you could be translating into the back of the golf ball. So using this drill, give yourself a really clear picture of swinging. Good position on the way back, in to out on the way through. Have a go at it.